Listen up. You must be diehard gold bulls. You have to be bullish on gold with me and stay bullish for many, many years. So let me tell you, your sect leader has already been bullish for 20 years. I started hyping gold in 2004 and now it's 2026. It's been a few days since we last met, so let's talk about international affairs. All right, let's start our BS session now. 10 minutes of just talking nonsense. Time for some BS. First of all, I think the US might attack Iran tonight. Tonight, yeah, that's my prediction. Why? They're evacuating citizens again. This has nothing to do with mysticism. It's all about the evacuations. The US Embassy has once again notified Americans in Iran to evacuate. Leave quickly, and if you can't, stock up on food and hide. This is a major sign that action is about to start. Because Xi and Trump, well, Trump has already spoken with Xi on the phone, so it should be okay to take action now. The US is also pretty well prepared. So, in my personal opinion, if there really is a strike on Iran, gold will see a bit of volatility, a spike upward, most likely. So, have you noticed? Have you noticed that gold just won't go down? Heh. This goes out to all the followers of the surname sect, all surname sect believers around the world. Listen up. You must be diehard gold bulls. You have to be bullish on gold with me and stay bullish for many, many years. So let me tell you, your sect leader has already been bullish for 20 years. I started hyping gold in 2004 and now it's 2026. I've really been talking it up for 20 years and finally my patience is paying off. So let's look ahead together for another 20 years. Gold will have at least a 40-year bull market. 10 minutes. Time's up. That's the first thing. I feel like the US might attack Iran tonight. Tonight, yeah, I did some quick calculations. Why? They're evacuating their citizens again. This isn't about mysticism, it's about the evacuation. The US Embassy has once again notified people in Iran to evacuate, telling them to leave quickly. If you can't leave, hurry up and buy some food and hide. This is an important signal that action is about to start. Because both Xi and Trump have talked on the phone, so it should be okay to take action now. The US is also pretty well prepared. So, in my personal opinion, if there's a strike on Iran, then gold will experience a small fluctuation, specifically an upward fluctuation. So, have you noticed or have you seen that gold just can't drop? This is for all the believers of the Qing religion, all the global followers of the Qing faith. Listen up. You must be diehard bulls on gold. You must follow me in being optimistic about gold and stay optimistic for many, many years. Let me tell you, your leader has already been bullish for 20 years. I started hammering on gold back in 2004. It's 2026 now, and honestly, I've been talking about this for 20 years. Finally, I've lived to see it happen. So let's keep watching together for another 20 years. Gold will have at least a 40-year bull market. So that photo of Lao Wang with the cigar was really nice. I didn't post it. It was made by a fellow believer. It was made using something called Join. So, can you still buy LMT from the cult leader? It's a bit high now. Chechen, because fighting Iran is actually pretty easy. It's not like they're saying Iran is a really powerful country or that it's a match between equals. That's not the case. The way the US fights is like hitting acupuncture points, one strike, and the opponent is paralyzed. So that's it. That's the first big news. They're going after Iran. The second big news is that the price of silver has crashed again, and both Bitcoin and silver have plummeted with no bottom in sight. Haha. Bitcoin is heading towards 60,000. Bitcoin has dropped from 100,000 to 60,000, and it's still going down. Silver too. Silver has dropped from over 120 to about 70, and it's still going down. Why is that? Why does silver rise later and fall first? And why is it such a sudden crash-like drop? Why is that? This is what I was talking about regarding the capital markets. All capital markets originate from gambling dens. All capital comes from gambling. So please don't say that Bitcoin is some kind of exception. What exactly do I mean by all? I mean all major capital projects, whether we are talking about Bitcoin, digital currency, gold, silver, or even direct mail marketing campaigns. Or whether it's the stock market, bonds, whatever, it all comes from gambling. Gambling is its root, but traditional gambling dens have four major limitations, which make them vastly different from the modern financial industry. It's like the difference between humans before they used tools and after they invented tools. A world of difference. So, what are the four major limitations of traditional gambling dens? The first limitation is the restriction on the number of participants. Traditional gambling dens have a limit on the number of people, for example. For example, in bridge or mahjong, only four people can play, right? That's how it is in traditional gambling dens. It's impossible for any number of people to play together. Traditional gambling tables are mainly for 2 to 4 people. So, in this process, the number of participants is limited. You can't play with high stakes, that's the first limitation. The second limitation is Yeah, it's also easy to stir up resentment. Why is that? Because, well, when we play Mahjong, if one person wins and the other three lose, those three will resent you. And if three people win and one person loses, that one loser, well, the person who loses might not come back next time or might even threaten to jump off a building. And before jumping, they'll curse you all and put on red underwear before they go. They'll curse you because they hate you. They know exactly who took their money, who made off with their cash. That's the second limitation. The third limitation is this: people with money and people without money can't really play together. There's an economic barrier, or a limitation in ability, or simply financial strength. For example, take me and a food delivery guy who watches my channel. We simply can't gamble together because I have way more money than he does. I think, honestly, if you want to bottom fish gold, personally, I feel you need at least $50,000 to play around with. Like, just a snap of the fingers. If it's less than 50,000, what's the point? That just doesn't cut it. He might think, "Yeah, can I play with just $10,000 or even 50 yuan?" But that's just not possible. How am I supposed to play with you for 50 yuan? It's like playing mahjong, for example. I can't play with my grandma because she plays for 50 cents or even just 10 or 50 cents. How do you play like that? You could play all night and only win 10 or 20 win. That's just no fun. So that's the third limitation. Now, the fourth limitation, yes, this is the third limitation, and now the fourth. That is, there's also a skill level limitation. In traditional card games, there are serious, even harsh, requirements for card skills. If the skill levels are different, you just can't play together. The hands move so fast, the minds work so quickly, if you're not up to par, you're just going to get slaughtered. So, this is why traditional gambling venues can't evolve. Then, when it reached America, the Wall Street era, the era under the buttonwood tree, and even back to the Dutch tulip mania in 1783, it evolved. The biggest sign of this evolution is the emergence of the dealer. The appearance of the dealer is something that never existed in all traditional gambling card games. For example, when you play Mahjong, the east position isn't really a dealer. So, what is a dealer? A dealer is someone who sets up the rules and framework for the gambling and also fulfills a duty, which is to organize the gambling and handle the settlement of bets. That's what a dealer is. The English term for dealer is house. With the dealer in place, everyone else becomes the opponent of the house. This is the beginning of the financial market. So, with the start of the financial market, the dealer has a fundamental responsibility. You might say, "Old Wang, this sounds like Italian football betting." And you'd be right. Italian football betting is a classic example of a new financial market. First of all, you're not limited by the number of participants. Today, for example, AC Milan is playing against Inter Milan, anyway, today's match. As long as people have differing opinions about the outcome and are interested, anyone can participate. Whether it's 100,000 people or a million people, it's all possible. The dealer sets the odds for you, and everyone just goes for it. If you think someone will win, you bet on them. There's no limit on the number of participants. Second, there's no distinction between rich and poor, no limit on the scale. That doesn't exist here. If you say, "I'm a billionaire, I want to bet more," then just bet more. If you say, "I'm just a regular worker," then you just bet less. Third, there really aren't any restrictions, no limits on the number of people or the scale. There are no technical limitations either. And fourth, there are no technical barriers. Fifth, there's no possibility of seeking revenge or anything like that. There's no need for that. If you're willing to bet, you should accept the outcome. Why would you seek revenge? You don't even know who took your money. You just know you lost your bet, you put your money in, and when the results are announced, it's gone. That's it, it's gone. Nothing you can do. I bet on the wrong one. You won't hate any particular person and say, "Damn, it was you who took my money." That won't happen. So, this is how it starts to evolve, evolving into a capital market, getting closer to finance. That's why things like soccer betting, Mark 6 lottery, and pigeon tickets exist. Welfare lotteries and all that, they all have a house. They're all run by the house. So, when I say this, if you take it a step further, you get to stocks. That's it. Commodity exchanges and stock exchanges. Bitcoin exchanges also have a house, just the same. There is always a house, for example, take gold. When it comes to Royal Gold, there are five major market makers. Internationally, there are five big houses, and these five big houses are actually in it together. There are no Chinese among them, no Chinese at all. Before the Henan people got involved, diamonds also had big houses controlling the market. There were about 20 international diamond price quotes, and they all came from these houses. They set the prices, and you have no say, no room for choice. You can only decide whether to follow or not, whether you play along or not. That's how it is. So, in the international gold market, there are five major houses. Now, you might ask, does the international silver market have them too? Are there houses in that market? Of course, there are. Yes, the international silver market also has its own big players. So why does silver rise when gold rises? It's the same logic. Everyone comes to speculate and buy. But why does silver drop so sharply? And why do they insist on crashing it completely? Because the big players in the silver market can't hold on anymore. The demand for physical delivery in gold trading is almost zero. That is, in the international gold trading market, except for the Shanghai Gold Exchange in China, most other gold exchanges basically have no demand for physical delivery. It's all just a paper game, so the pressure is very low, but in the international silver trading market, it's different. As everyone knows, internationally, silver is used not only in China, but also in the US as an industrial raw material. Silver is an important industrial product. Besides its financial attributes, it is actually a commodity. If you keep making so much noise and buying so many long positions, then the so called Chicago Mercantile Group, which is the COMEX in New York, won't be able to deliver to you. In other words, the big players have been pushed to the point where they have to play dirty. In other words, if I were the bookie and I said, damn, today AC Milan will win, and I set the odds, but then everyone bets on AC Milan to win, wouldn't I end up losing money? If everyone is right, then AC Milan has to lose. If tonight AC Milan really wins and all the gamblers in Italy and around the world bet correctly, wouldn't I lose everything down to my underwear? You get it? That's how simple this logic is. So, how can they make such accurate predictions? The House doesn't need to predict accurately, they just need to follow the law of large numbers. That is, 80% of people's choices will be limited to 20% of the options. This is called the law of large numbers, also known as the Gaussian bell curve. All the casino houses need to do is focus on that central 20% range. They do not need to worry about the other 80%, because everyone will go for that. As long as he focuses on that concentrated area, all he needs to do is cast a net and catch that group, the 80% of people. That's enough.